Do you know how to prune a garden rose? Now this is more of a hybrid tea, floribundas. These aren't your knockout roses or your climbing roses. That is pruned a different way. But for these cut flower roses, what you're going to want to do is make sure you get a container and make sure you have a good pair of bypass pruners. I like these and these. These are Fiskars for 1 1/4 cuts thick, and then these two. And make sure that you dip them into the bleach that is 10% bleach and 90% water. After you've done that and yours are disinfected, you're gonna go ahead and measure from 12 inches to 18 inches from the ground on up, and you're gonna make cuts. And when you make a cut, I want a leaf bud that is not facing towards the plant, but is facing to the side or out there. And that way the plant has good air circulation and it won't grow inward. So I go around and I make these cuts quickly. Anything that is dead or diseased or damaged, I'm gonna cut off. This is about 18 inches right here. If you zoom in on this section right here, you can see that it is damaged. So I'm actually going to cut it right here above that because we don't want any insects to go in there and harbor in the plant. Then I'm gonna go around. This is dead because if you can look at this, the dead wood is going to be this dark, almost black color, or it's gonna be this gray color right here. Anything that's nice and green is going to show you where the new growth is. And I'm gonna cut that part out. There's a little dead there, so I'm just gonna cut there. And I'm just gonna go around the plant and do that real quick. The last thing I'm gonna look at is the size of the canes. You want about 5 to 7 good canes left on the plant, and you wanna make sure that they are thicker than a pencil. So this one's pretty thick, these are thick, this one is dead that I missed, so I'm gonna cut that. But this one right here is pretty thin that's coming off this thicker one, so I'm just gonna cut all these thinner ones off. Even if they're green, I'm going to cut it off. And then I look to make sure if I have all of the center of the plant open. I want to make sure that I have good air circulation through the plant. So if you zoom in right here at the top, if you come closer, I should be able to put something in the middle that can have good air circulation in the middle. This is going to help the plant be much healthier and be able to breathe, and is really good for the plant. So if I really wanted to open it up more, I could take this one out, but since I can really place a bowl, that's what you kind of want to do, is if you can place a bowl in the center and it's fine, then you know you've got good air circulation. And I've looked at my cuts, the ones that I've made, this one's facing inward, so I am going to cut it a little farther down, so then that way those are outward, that's outward, that's outward. These are all outward facing cuts of where the leaf is coming out, which is what you want. Then the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a rake, and or you can do it with your fingers if you have gloves on, but be careful if you have any more fallen. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna rake the mulch around the rows away from here, and you're going to dispose of that in the trash can, not your compost, because it can harbor disease from previous leaves. You're gonna put this in the trash. You're gonna sprinkle a little compost around the front, around the area of the rows. I try to go out as far as wherever the rose is. And then I'm gonna put new mulch back through. And that is what you have to do for your cut flower roses. The last thing I wanted to show you that I forgot in the other one, because the other rose didn't have this problem, is that if there's any rubbing, if you see these two canes, they're both dead and I would cut them anyway. But if they were both alive, I would only decide which one is the healthiest and to cut that because anything that is rubbing up against each other can cause damage to the canes, and you don't want that at all, and you're gonna remove anything that's rubbing if you have any canes that are doing that. I wanted to show you this rose. It is completely dead. All my others have budded out into leaf buds. This, you can see that there's a hole and it's hollow, but I'm going to go ahead and remove this. But if you have all your other roses budding out and one doesn't, it's probably a sign that it is probably dead. And so you want to put a dead one not in the compost in case it had any disease, but straight into the trash.